I am really looking forward to Dark Matter Season 2, but it also makes me think about another Apple TV Plus sci-fi show that was cancelled far too soon. Despite a few changes and alterations to the 2016 Dark Matter book, the live-action adaptation has been incredibly faithful so far. However, the confirmation of Dark Matter Season 2 surprised me, as Season 1 ended where the original novel also wrapped up the story, and there weren't any sequels. So, author and showrunner Blake Crouch is getting the chance to continue his narrative almost a decade later. Apple TV Plus has no shortage of sci-fi shows, and while many of them tend to thrive and end up with multi-season runs, 2024 brought about the birth of an original project that stopped far too soon. I really enjoyed watching it while it lasted, and I'm still disappointed the Apple TV Plus opted not to produce more episodes. That said, I can also understand why the decision was made, even though I don't agree with it. Constellation was cancelled by Apple TV Plus after just one season. Noomi Rapace's sci-fi thriller only lasted 8 episodes. Created by Peter Harness, Constellation Season 1 consisted of 8 episodes and told the story of an astronaut returning to Earth from the International Space Station, only to discover that things were different, almost to the point of being imperceptible. The subtle changes to the life of Noomi Rapace's Jo Erickson brought her to the edge of losing her mind before gradually starting to figure out what was going on. I'm still not over Constellation's cancellation, as it put a new spin on the multiverse trope that is so popular in sci-fi at the moment. The show acknowledged that there was more than one reality, but also strongly suggested there were only 2 of them. This binary approach to a multiverse storyline allowed twists and mysteries that aren't possible in many of its contemporaries, and it's a great shame that Harness wasn't able to build further on the idea. Constellation took a while to get going, but it set up an exciting future. Constellation Season 2 would have kicked things up a notch. Constellation was primarily a psychological thriller, but it used various sci-fi hallmarks to push the story forward. As a result, it wasn't quite as fast-paced as some viewers might have liked. It focused on a slow-building and enigmatic approach to storytelling that would only start to solve one of its mysteries when there were others to fill its place. For what it lacked in high-octane action sequences, Constellation didn't skimp on creating a deeply fascinating world that promised some pretty major reveals. In a way, Constellation Season 1 tells a complete story. It ends with Jo appearing to accept her new reality, even if she's still not quite sure of the finer details about what happened to her. Pausing Apple TV Plus after her discharge from the psychiatric hospital is one way to end the show, but Peter Harness quite clearly had a second season in mind. Constellation Season 1's ending reveals that the Jo that Rapace's character has replaced is somehow still alive aboard the other International Space Station, despite fatal-looking injuries. Sadly, I doubt this twist will ever be revisited. If Constellation Season 2 happened, Apple TV Plus would have had 2 shows with similar premises. Jo Erickson and Jason Dessen have pretty much the same goal and challenges. Apple TV Plus presumably cancelled Constellation due to mixed reviews and poor viewership, but I also think another reason factored into the decision to axe the show. Constellation's premise, although very creative, isn't that dissimilar to that of Dark Matter. The respective main characters in each show are trapped in a universe that is not their own, and their primary objective is to get home to be reunited with the original versions of their spouse and child. Of course, they aren't identical. Jo's story is set between just 2 universes, whereas Dark Matter's interdimensional travel takes Jason Dessen, Joel Edgerton, through an infinite array of alternate realities. On the other hand, the Jo that was set to come back from the dead was strongly implied to be a very unsavory character, just as Jason 2 also served as Dark Matter's main villain. I do think there were enough divergences for both Constellation and Dark Matter to thrive, but I can see why Apple TV Plus perhaps thought it was best to bring one of them to an end.